Alright, I'm back. Walk and you shall reach is exactly the proverb that keeps whirling in my head all the way down to the camp leader's cabin. Somehow I just couldn't manage to argue, to pretend that I'm sick, or to just skip it without reason. Excuse me, that's the new whiskey in me. The events of this day taught me one thing. That's to be submissive. Although sometimes whatever was happening made no sense to me. Sorry. As I walked in, I had a thought. Well, in fact, how should I get ready? Clothes, I have an overcoat and a pair of jeans. Anyways, I forgot to ask whatever it was we were going, or whether it was going to be overnight or not. I couldn't think of anything better, so I grabbed a sweater that I had on me when I arrived at camp. The night might be fairly chilly, and shuffled slowly off to the square. I thought he stuffed it in his pants. Hey, Gendo, you're still smoking a little bit, aren't you? Or is that just normally how you look in the afternoon? Hey, Gendo, you're a smoking babe. Why don't you find some new love? Anyways, all of the camp was already there, although it was about 10 minutes before the time Olga had designated. I settled down near the edge and waited patiently. Night was falling, and I tried to catch it. If viewed from the outside, what fairly comical picture we would make. A crowd of pioneers lined up outside of sheer habit, like they were awaiting a silent command from the bronze Gendo. And all of this happening in secret rays of sunset. Scarlet, I can read. No, screw it. It's secret rays of sunset, because the sun doesn't want you to know. It's a secret. Anyways. And there he was, waving his hand, screaming, "Lunch to Eva!" As roaring soldiers with red neckerchiefs launched a giant red robot made with, again, a child's mother. But Olga showed up and started to talk instead of Gendo. It seems that everyone's here. Great. Now, today, we will go hiking. It's essential for every pioneer to be able to come to the rescue of his comrade, like we could have practiced yesterday, to offer a helping hand in his hour of need, saving them from a hopeless situation. We have to learn to do all these things together. A whisper ran through the crowd. This truly epic expedition would end in a clearing in the forest, several hundred feet away from the square. A giant campfire. Again, it is what it is. End of camp, well, roughly end of camp. You hike to this campfire, have a big bonfire. Couples get together, lay together, sneak off into the darkness together. Or you just have friends, you can make s'mores and, sing Kumbaya, my lord. Or in communist Russia, the lord sings Kumbayu. Yeah, take that, Russia, Smirnoff vodka. Anyways, somehow I thought so too. We'll walk in pairs. So, if you haven't chosen a partner for yourself yet, now's the right time to do it. I freaked out every time they did that. I was too shy to ask people, unless I had friends there, but that was rare. But yeah, have your own partners, I'd freak out. A socially awkward guy like me, ugh. Pioneers quickly caught on to the idea and started marching in pairs. It looked like I was the only one without a partner. Slivia was enthusiastically discussing with Olga. Lena was with Miku. Electronic, of course, was with Shurik. Well, it might not be a bad idea to go alone after all. Simon! The voice of the camp leader pulled me out of my thoughts. I went up to her reluctantly. I see that you haven't found a partner yet. Are you not of age yet? No, I'm trying to think. Something witty there, but the alcohol prevents that. Then you'll join Zoe. She's alone too. I was struck with that special kind of despair that only a true loner can experience. So it appears that I'm left with the prickly librarian that could risk spending a couple hours even if I paid for it. Although we both seem to be in the same boat now. Yet she's still judging me, you judgy bastard, yeah. I slowly approached Zoe, not making any sudden movements, for fear that she may attack. Well, I guess we're going together. She looked up at me. In that outfit, honey? Anyways, don't you even think that I'm glad? Zoe said seriously, why on earth would you feel glad? I asked naively. Never mind. Tsunade. She's supposed to be a Tsunade. Why didn't I see that before? It would be much better if you just shut the fuck up. Be like your dress and just be an awful mess of work. Nah, I couldn't work that into a fashion insult. Be like your outfit and die in the 70s. How about that? It couldn't get any better than this. She turned her back on me and followed the other pioneers. I still haven't seen any special reason to walk in pairs. Anyways, we were walking on a well-trodden forest trails, and it would be quite difficult to get lost even if I wanted to. Moreover, we had already been hiking for half an hour, and we weren't rushing into the depths of the forest, trying to face all the dangers that could test our courage and harden our pioneer spirits. But instead, we were walking around in circles. However, if we take into account that Olga was our chief, the hike would be compared to the Hobbit's march to from the Shire to Mordor. But one does not simply walk into Mordor. Just as Zoe insisted, I was following her at a distance and in silence, out of sight. The librarian seemed to be perfectly okay with this. Hey, don't you know when we'll reach our destination? Don't you know when we'll reach our destination? Don't you know? I guess that's how you would say that. Or what? The place where we're trying to get to, you asshole. The whole point of this hike isn't to set up a camp, but it's the hike itself. Haven't you ever heard it's not the destination, but it's the journey? You don't get it. Yeah, it seemed like I don't understand a thing about hiking. I guess you're right, but still. I don't know, alright? Much like your fashion sense, I don't have a clue. There, that one worked. She replied sharply and quickened her pace. Listen, why are you always so... I was about to say mean, but started short. I haven't done anything bad to you, and I'm not going to. She glared at me in surprise. Always so what? Well, unsociable. Kind of. Or is it something about me? Oh, cut the stupidity out already. As you wish. I decided not to start a conversation with her for a while and enjoy the rest of the hike. Now see, Zoe's not an option, is she? Which I was kind of disappointed about. I don't think Zoe's an option in this whole game. Actually, I was really disappointed that Olga wasn't an option. I decided not to start a conversation with her for the hike. Ellipses laughed at our conversation. At least Olga decided to end this Cypherian toil. It's time to halt. The place chosen turned out to be quite a large glade with a few trees laid out. Excuse me. Often such hikes are a tradition in this camp. I was sent to gather firewood together with the other boys. It didn't take long because there were a lot of the branches from various sizes were laying around. Eventually, Olga lit the fire using some old newspaper and her fiery breath. I was eager to know what was written there, but couldn't discern any of these Soviet symbols. Clearly, like me, he doesn't know how to read his own language. Pioneers took their places on the fallen logs, benches, and started to talk about things, the weather, the birds and the bees, and the things between the knees. It seemed that the final goal of this event had been achieved. The only thing missing were a pot of fish soup, aluminum cans of vodka, and a guitar. Again, kumbaya, me lord, kumbaya. Gordon Tag. No, that's German. Damn it. I don't know Russian. But I wasn't a bit surprised if all these would appear somehow. Well, I mean, there's vodka at the, whatchamacallit, the nurse's office. Ugh, what you talking about? Or thinking about, you bastard? You've been talking out loud, don't you know? Slivia sat next to me. Yeah. Oh, nothing special. Just enjoying the hike and the view of the peaks. I answered sarcastically. You don't look too happy. Well, I'm not about to jump for joy. Sorry about that. Okay, I won't disturb you. Nah, come back. She sat with me for a while, but after realizing that I wasn't in the mood for talking, she left to be enjoyed by introspecting. Oh, it left me to be enjoyed. Okay, I was about to say, why did she leave to be left alone? Anyways. And all I wished was to lie down in my bed, fall asleep as soon as possible, but I was surrounded by smoke and the useless chatter of pioneers around me instead. There was cheering, laughing, and in a general enjoyment of the good summer evening. Okay, I tried to change that sentence and it didn't make sense, but let's roll with it. And in the far side of the glade, I noticed Lena was arguing with Alice intensely, and Lena seemed to like the complete opposite to me. Slivia had left to go somewhere off in the conversation, it seemed. Electronic and Shurik were trying furiously to prove something to Olga. Looks like I'm the only one who doesn't belong here. Now, I learned something here, or something in general you should learn. Don't get involved in fights between women that don't involve you. If they're just arguing, let it be. If it gets physical, break it up. But for the most part, don't. You stick your head out, it's getting chopped the fuck off. It goes from them fighting among themselves to ripping you to shreds. That just might be my personal experience, but let's do nothing. Just stay seated. Which checking is, yep. All I was doing was just watching the fire. There is a saying that claims that one could watch it forever, as well as running water. But then you have to pee after a while. But there was also some third thing there. One could watch three things forever: burning fire, running water, and how other people work. The camp leader pulled me out of my daydreaming. Simon, don't you think it's a bit too early to relax? But what else is there I need to do? I honestly couldn't get what Olga wanted from me. Sex. I don't know. She stopped for a moment. But if there's something that needs to be done, then do it without hesitation. She smiled ambiguously and went back to the fire to throw a few branches on. In those words, I am completely sure that she treats me like a personal slave. Or at least, I am free labor force, which is strictly speaking the same thing. I sighed and put my head down in my hands, hoping my torments would be over for the day. She patted me on my shoulder. Or someone did. I looked up and saw Shurik Electronic, who sat next to me. What do you want? I asked tiredly. Don't be sad. Is there anything better to do? Oh, wait a minute. That's... Look, we've been discussing... There you go. I give him this voice. We've been discussing the possibilities for the advancement of the Scientific Club with Olga. And there is a problem. We need more guys. You could also give females, you chauvinist bastard. If you could. He hesitated. Advancement, and these guys were incomparable with each other. I said nothing and started to look over at the pioneers around me instead. Well, I don't have the time. Can't you see that I'm always busy with the camp leader's errands? Yes, I guess you're right. It's kind of embarrassing how it all went with Ulsa. I looked at him with surprise. It seemed that Shurik blamed himself for the cake incident. He likes Ulsa, I think. I think that's where we're going with that. Yeah, it is. Other pioneers seem to be here, but I couldn't spot Slivia anywhere. Oh, wait a minute. I thought that was him. Sorry. All the pioneers seem to be here, but I couldn't spot Slivia anywhere. I think she's angry with me. Who? I asked absently. Ulsa. Maybe I should apologize. No, it's not your fault. We sat silently for a while. Then I stood up and said, she likes you, go have sex with her. You go with Lena. I'll go find Slivia. Give me. Heart attack over. My legs are numb. I better take a walk. Take a walk. They made no reply. I made a few circles around our improvised camp, noticing the close looks of the camp leader following me. Looks like Olga couldn't wait to come up with some kind of new task for me. I haven't found Slivia anywhere. Maybe I should go try to find her. On the other hand, I felt sorry for Ulsa every time I recalled her upset face. Maybe this hike isn't the most entertaining thing ever, but sitting there all alone isn't any better either. But at the same time, I didn't want to go anywhere. So, now this one, I selected it before, but of course it led to nothing because I think I bit the apple, which sent me down the Simone path. And I did the good and bad on that one. That was the second one. So this is, again, my second time trying to find Slivia. I'm really interested in where Slivia had gone all alone. Though I also wanted to leave this place as fast as possible. And if not to finally lie down to sleep, then at very least to spend some time alone away from all these pioneers and Olga, who just couldn't wait to occupy me with something again. I picked a good moment and fled into the forest. Night had fallen onto the camp, and the dramatic music of story development because it's the same music when me and Slivia talked about our life together. Anyways, night has fallen into camp and absolutely blah, blah, blah. One of these nights where the dark sky, except for the moon, stars and the crescent moon, not quite, didn't trigger any special emotions, where the crickets chirping and the singing of the night bird seemed more like an everyday routine than a nocturnal chorus. I wandered around the forest with no special purpose, trying not to get too far from camp. After all, there was a chance to meet Ulsa out there, and that natural disaster would probably be even worse than the camp leader. I sat down on a fallen tree and started thinking, why is this all happening to me? Boom, dun, dun. Anyways, why do I keep getting myself into foolish situations every time and everywhere? Even having suddenly appeared in this weird pioneer camp in the middle of nowhere, I don't get to become a subject in an experiment, a victim of some sick comic mind, or a participant in an intellectual war on the side of a group of suicidal prone pacifists, like a regular hero of science fiction. No, I get to hide in the night forest from a raving camp leader and her workhorse pioneers. Is that pioneers or pioneers? Pioneers. The pioneers don't do anything. I'm the workhorse. Anyways, the stars in the sky were shining brightly. Perhaps they gave their light not only to me and this camp, but also shine on the city where I was born and where my old home is. What was that It's that song from Fievel Goes West. Not Goes West, but just the first one. Somewhere out there, I got the melody in my head. If love can reach us true, something like that. Anyways, it was as if a pain started in my chest. Heart attack. You ought to know by now. I envisioned my old flat clearly, and a disabled burning started making its way from my stomach to my throat. Heartburn. It's just heartburn. Again, you ate fish today. No, it wasn't wistfulness. More like a sad, remnants. Because despite all of this happening, I felt more alive in less than 5 days here than I had at the last several years there. Now I really wasn't sure if I wanted to go back. Only one question still ate at me. How and why did I end up here? I started to think as the music changed. It flared up yet again in my mind. I hadn't spent much time thinking about the answers, just thinking about the situation lately. My thoughts were occupied with everyday routine affairs. Sorry, again, I'm trying to change something here. And now, in order to break away and be able to wish to stay here for good, I need to understand the nature of this place. It's just that even a nightingale in the golden cage has the right to know how and by whose will it got there. After all, to make the choice whether to stay or not. Probably, I would have been lost in my external thoughts for a long time, but I heard a voice approaching. Olga and the pioneers. Looks like they're proceeding with their hike. I headed towards the camp at a fast pace. I had no desire to go back to the camp leader's cabin because I was surely to be scolded, and just waiting for it is much worse. Soon enough, I arrived at the beach. And I wasn't here alone. A pioneer uniform, wink, wink, was laying on the ground. Who could it be? Could it be the local nudist? A girl's one. Hallelujah, get ready for the censorship. Oh! But yeah, I mean, I'm getting it's distinct pleasure she likes just being nude in public. Maybe she's some kind of nature god. But no one seemed to be swimming in the water. I almost thought it was some new delivery when suddenly a voice came from behind. Skipping out on the... Ah, you bastard! How can I make this voice sexy? Skipping out on a hike? I thought you were still in the woods. Ah, damn it. Then I turned around and saw Slivia in a bikini. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Ah, that's okay. I'm almost done. Why did you decide to have a swim during the night? Oh, well, is it prohibited? She smiled. Well, no. It's just, well, Olga, mind you leaving early? But y'all did the same now, didn't ya? Slivia gave me a quick glance. Yeah, I guess I did. I sat down on the sand and stared at the river. The river? What about the thing in front of the river? You didn't like the hike, did you? Nah, it's not that. Just, I wanted to be alone for some time. Alone, I said, you bastard. Now get the hint. Am I interrupting you? Ah, no, not really. That's not like you at all. What are you talking about, you bastard? Well, to leave like that. Well, I'm not a robot. Can you act accordingly to the program? Yeah, bastard. Ha ha ha. Look at that face. She laughed. Yeah, I guess you're right. I was still puzzled, and my fatigue was also becoming stronger and stronger. My mind was absolutely blank. To be precise, it was so heavy and full so that not even a single idea would have the chance to dwell there. If I would compare my brain to its prime at its prime to a bored highway full of speeding thoroughways, overtaking each other, crashing, chaotic, blah blah blah. All right, you read that. I'm too drunk. So, the first thing that crossed my mind were two objects. Do you think it's all pretty strange here? Strange? Everything that happens here, you know, time travel, all that. The idea of a model pioneer camp. Of course, it's not like I know a lot about them, but it looks exactly like I imagined it. What are you talking about? Slivia glared at me perplexedly. Do you ever feel that you're not where you belong? I don't know. More precisely, not where you were meant to be at all. as if thousands of kilometers away from your home or even in another galaxy. I don't understand ya. We're similar in this. I laid down on my back and looked at the stars. And what would you think if I told you that I'm an alien from the future? Are ya? Asked Slivia in the dead earnest. Well, let's assume I am. How should I return to my time? Do you really want to? Yeah, all this conversation with her had to do with my situation. Even the slightest hints always ends up at the same place. It's like she's offering me a chance to stay. Almost insisting on it. She needs your soul to survive. Anyways. Well, let's say that I'm not sure. There, as we could call it, everything is like home to me. Or rather, more familiar. Precisely, everything is known to me and I'm prepared for any situation. And here's the other way around. Literally, every little thing comes as a surprise and everything's different. Is that really bad? I wouldn't call it bad as I stare at the bikini-clad beauty in front of me. Unfamiliar, unclear. Sometimes it can be hard to change something, especially for the people with my personality. But what do you really want, lad? To start, I can't answer that question until I find out where exactly here is. Then go and find out, lad. If only it was that easy. But what's so difficult about it? Everything is difficult. I don't even know where to start. And I'm constantly being distracted. Yeah, talking about it so seriously, it's almost like it's all real. She laughed. Who knows? A pretty long solid followed. Suddenly Silver sneezed. Gesundheit. Ah, God bless ya. It wasn't a good idea to swim at night. You'll still get ill. Hurry to your cabin. It's cold out here. I'm beginning to merge their voices. They're becoming one soul. It's nothing. I'd rather sit here with you a bit more. Now, just let me dress. Well, I certainly flattered, but... Oh, let's go. I'll walk you. But there wasn't even a dozen steps before Slivia grasped my arm. What's the matter? Oh, I suddenly feel dizzy. I touched her forehead. It was burning. I was never more able to measure body temperature by touch, but in this case it was quite obvious. I told you! Achoo, you bastard. Come on, come on. No, I could catch... I could infect Zoe. Listen, we better go to the infirmary. And what would you do in the infirmary at night alone? That's nonsense. Again, wrong voice. No, it's not nonsense, you bastard. If you could do it, if you don't want to help me, I'll go by myself. She let out my hand and was ready to leave. Don't get upset, but put this on, it's cold. I handed her my sweater, which I brought on the hike. Finally found some use for it, huh? Good boy. Ah, thanks. She pulled the sweater and gave it a tender and caring look that I just couldn't argue with her anymore. Okay, fine. To the infirmary it is, as you say. 5 minutes later, we were standing by the infirmary door, and Slivia was picking out the right key. I still considered it quite a foolish idea. Nobody ever died from the common cold. Not true, I don't believe. Was that a double negative? Oh, I'm drunk. At least not in the past. There we go. Yeah, past century. Oh, I could see plenty of reasons to Hey, is that a cat? I just noticed that cat there. Then again, is this my first time here at the infirmary at night? Immediately, that's not the pussy I was looking for at the infirmary. Finally, Slivia opened the door and leaned on my arm. I'm still a bit dizzy now, Like I drank too much of the creature now, don't you know? She said guiltily. Celia leaned on the bed. I sat on the chair nearby. Still, listen. Alone for the whole night in the infirmary? After all, at least Xena could get the glass of water if she needed one. Zoe! I should call her Xena. That's more appropriate since she's very... Nuskin. Well, she's judgmental. She's not warrior princess. Rawr. Anyways, she wouldn't catch illness. She's young and strong and beautiful. Ugh, it's all right. I don't want to bother anyone, and the nurse will come tomorrow. I suddenly imagined myself in Xena's place. I imagined that if I had to spend the whole night here alone, and shivers ran down my spine. Listen. Maybe I can help you for a while. I owed a lot to Slivia, and in fact, I didn't want to leave. What for? Everything will be fine. Thanks for walking me over here. You should go and get some sleep now. Still, I think. It's fine. For a moment I thought. Of course, nothing terrible will happen to her here, but I myself would feel much more relaxed if I stayed with her. I mean, there's 2 beds. You can sleep over there. I think. Ugh, come on. Slivia cried out as if offended. You won't throw me out, will you? I smiled slightly. All right, but if you get infected, you only have yourself to blame. Then again, I hear there's an old Japanese phrase that idiots can't catch the cold, so you'll be fine. I was happy with my little victory. Okay, then. What shall we do? Exchange fluids! Anyways, no. There should be some playing cards in the chest. And I said that without staring at hers. Direct. In fact, I didn't know any other games except that one and poker. Because I wanted to poker. Okay. You use that old joke, you bastard. That joke's older than this. Anyways. We spent a lot of time playing with each other. I completely lost track of time. We chatted, laughed, and a lot. Sylvia didn't see me a little. The midnight came. Ugh, it's time to sleep. Probably. But where are you going to go? She gazed at me. Come on. You shouldn't be sitting in here with me. I can do it anyways. At the moment, I could even fall asleep standing up. Slivia watched me for some time, then drew the curtain and said, Good night. Night. I lowered my head and my arms and fell asleep. Again, there's 2 beds in that picture. You could have slept in the other one. I lowered my head and fell asleep in an instant. Despite being exhausted, I slept uneasy. It was more of a slumber. My awareness kept leaving me and returning again. The best possible state for dreaming something psychedelic. Bus number 410 drove past my room. It was snowing from the ceiling and my computer monitor suddenly rose from the middle of the table. Wallpaper blended through the walls, rubbish piles rose through the floor, and my old bed materialized in the corner. It was my old flat again. The scenery changed to that of my hometown. It was like I was running through the endless hordes of people bustling in and out, and the darkness fell on me. Primal, universal darkness. I jumped in terror. I was sweating like a river. Slivia was looking at me worriedly from bed. Just a bad dream. I attempted to smile. You were screaming. Screaming what? I don't know. It was incomprehensible. The clock was 30 minutes. You only been Simon? Huh? I'm freezing. Slivia was rubbing her arms with a sweater and shivering. Hang on, I'll find the blanket. I searched from one cabinet to another, swearing to myself about how the damn infirmary had nothing to cover up the patients. I'm sorry, there's nothing here. Wait, I'll run and fetch you something. You don't have to. Would you just lie with me? It'll be much warmer. Wink, wink. She said, absolutely serious. Her voice sounded so petite, holy, that for a second I was left breathless. Are you sure? Is it okay? So, it's not? She asked, blushing. No, why? I slowly took off my clothes and laid on the very edge of the couch, trying to occupy as little space as possible, trying to shrink and stop breathing. Slivia gently embraced me and rested her head on my chest. Yeah, that's better, she purred. I was unable to say anything and just laid there calmly. Very good. Ach, thank you bastard. For what? Slivia kept her eyes closed and seemed ready to fall asleep at any second. For being here. It's fine. 2 minutes ago, she was desperately trying to get rid of me. No, really? Then you're welcome. She said nothing, but I was sure that Slivia smiled. Contact us anytime, as they say. You're so kind. Thank you very much now. Lord bless you. Well, I try. You're a good friend. Friend? Well, yeah, probably. Somehow that word hit me painfully. On the other hand, there was no reason to believe that I was something more. That I was something more to Slivia than just a friend. What are these thoughts about? What was these thoughts about anyways? And did she look at me? Oh, you too is a horrible band. No, I just couldn't bring myself to find the right words. What's up with you two? I don't know. They haven't had an album out in forever. It's been a pleasure dealing with you. We hope for future mutual beneficial cooperation and mutual contact of one's privates. Or, yeah, it's cool being friends with you. Let's go play in the sandbox. This was twice as hard to endure with Slivia laying next to me. I can't run, I can't hide, and even without her looking me in the eyes, I know that she sees right through me. You're distressed about something, aren't you, you bastard? No, I'm fine, you woman. But I can tell that you are. Well, maybe. Want to talk about it? Is it gonna be like this a whole life, woman? I just want to sleep. Well, not really. In fact, there's nothing really to talk about. Then you don't really know why you're upset. Actually, yes. Then why get upset in the first place? Slivia laughed. I guess I shouldn't. That's great. She hugged me even harder. Not cold now? I'm fine. Just tell me if you're not comfortable. No, it's okay. Like that time on the boat. My muscles, as if remembering the rowing competition, remind me of it with a dull ache. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. She said slyly and raised her head a bit. So, everything's fine then. Yeah, it's actually perfect. I started to worry. Slivia surely wanted something from me. Wanted me to do or say something. But what? Are you sure, you bastard? As she points down. I'm just reminding the old Family Guy sketch about Brian saying, oh, I think she's been giving me hints about wanting to have sex, and she's like pointing big arrows towards her crotch, you know. Yeah, probably. Well then, have a good night. You too. Ellipses laughed at the lack of interaction we've been having. After a while, she fell asleep. I checked the clock out with the corner of my eye. It was only 1 o'clock, and that meant I had to lie here in this position until morning. I wasn't really concerned about my arm going numb. Just being so close to Slivia in such a dangerous proximity, I couldn't sleep at all. Various thoughts were invading my head. Does she really consider this whole situation normal? Well, I mean, to her, this is her world. She woke up the day before you got there, living supposedly 18 years normal before you got there. Just when I was thinking about how bad it would be if anyone found us, the door opened, the light switch, and Olga rushed in. My heart jumped and stopped for a moment. Simon! You cheating bastard! Started the camp leader in a diabolical, calm voice. I've been searching for you everywhere, and you escaped from the forest ahead of time and didn't come to the cabin and sleep, and now you're seducing our best pioneer. Slivia instantly woke up. She was staring at the camp leader with sleepy eyes for a second, and then instantly understood what was going on and jumped out from bed. Olga, you bastard! It's not what it think. I just fell asleep and Simon walked me here. I felt ill weather, and then I caught a cold. I told him to grab the cabin. Oh yeah, sure. You're sick, are ya? I am, answered Slivia humbly. Then you have to get treatment. She watched me menacingly. And you, get up and follow me, you cheating bastard. Again, that bastard I can't say without a hint of accent. I used arguing. Hey, Gendo. We reached the square without saying a word. Olga viciously looked at me and said, Time to go home. I need to have a serious talk with you when we get back to our cabin. Mister? I felt awful the whole day. The camp leader silently followed me. I think that once again I got into a stupid situation in which would be which perceived totally wrong by everyone, and nothing to discuss. What if I was in Olga's place? 2 teenagers cuddling together in an empty infirmary at night. It's hard to come up with any apologies. The worst thing is, all these things were happening specifically to me. I always considered myself to have an analytic mind. However, I rarely ever got put into practice. We entered the cabin. The camp leader continued the interrogation. Would you care to explain yourself? She seemed to have calmed down a bit. At least the side of her character was appealing. She was, of course, an impulsive woman, but she also cooled down quickly. Slivia told you everything. You expect me to believe that? I couldn't force you to believe it, but I'm also not going to invent any excuse either. But it's the truth. She looked at me for some time and then said, Tomorrow I will decide what to do with you. Whip and chain may be involved, as well as a gag ball. Be prepared. The camp leader turned off the light, and I rolled myself into my blanket, not even bothering to undress, and turned to face the wall. Interesting. Why does she only blame me for? Well, you're the guy. They always blame the guy. Rarely is it ever, Well, I mean, rightfully so. We're the ones that are hormones, especially at that age. But still. I wasn't there alone after all. Slivia is a role model pioneer, of course, but no, I didn't intend to shift blame to her. I just felt too ashamed for getting into an idiotic situation once again. Involuntarily, with no malice thoughts, not expecting any traps. You had some thoughts there. Some thoughts. There for a while, and you even admit so. I could have laid there pitying myself long time, but fatigue overtook me, and I blanked out. And that's the end of day 5. On to day 6. There we go. There you are. You sexy girl, you. So, that means we're on that path then. Okay, cool. So, and again, after day 6, wait, let me quickly, is it this one? Save game and save here. So I forgot, there's day 7, there's 7 days. So tomorrow is where essentially again, from my only 1-2 experience, is tomorrow's when all the shit goes down. Stuff falls apart. And then you have day 7, which is the final day, and stuff either gets resolved, and then you from the previous ones, you go back to your time or you die. and then the game kind of either starts again or, anyways, we'll see. We'll see what happens here, because it's hinting, or the save game, it seems to be hinting at Simon wanting to stay, realizing that this might be paradise or something close to it. So he's tempted, it sounds like, to stay. And Slivia seems to be luring him to stay. We'll see. Yeah, as far as I know, usually, again, like I said, the last day, there's not too many choices. Again, I've only done, as you see here, 3 endings. So Alice and Simon's 2 endings, which were just one choice different from each other. So, but we'll see. So I'll do this good, and if I still continue this, let me know if you still want to see more of it. Like and all that comment stuff, and then we'll do more. But again, it seems like she's tempting us to stay, kind of like the siren's call. So, but yeah, like I said, I also promised to do Lena's bad ending next, so I might do that. And again, hopefully after I do all this once through on this computer, I'll be able to skip a lot of the stuff and get through the new stuff only. So we'll see how that works. So that's the... So anyways, we'll see. I'm looking at my notes here. We'll see how this all goes. Otherwise, again, let me know what you want to see. If you want to see more of this, or if you want to see anything, any suggestions, much appreciated. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, and see you next time, Pioneer.